I'm hi. Hello. Hi guys. I'm here. Waiting for Heather Jergensen. Okay. Let's see what happens. There we go.
Hey guys, I'm Carly Kloss, and I just created my own website with Wix.
Go to Wix.com to create.
There we go. There we go. Okay. I keep forgetting that I have to turn things off before I move on. Okay. So I need to not look at my screen. Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm figuring out this live thing, okay? I'm figuring out this live thing. Hey, if you are here, go ahead and drop a comment in the chat. I hope you can see this. And I am so excited because today is a very, very special day. I'm gonna wait for a few things, a few people to show up. Hello, it is August 1st. It is the first day of Veda. And if you don't know what Veda is, I promise you I will explain that here in a minute. But for the most part, I am so amped. I have been, if you had seen me about, an hour ago, I was literally dancing around back over here. It was nuts. I just had so much nervous energy, and I'm just so excited about this process, the Veda process. Not only that, but I have a couple of other big announcements that I want to give you guys today. So if you are new to this channel because you found me through the Savvy Sexy Social Facebook pages, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and this channel. So my name's Heather. Hi. And this channel is unofficially called Running with Grace. It was born out of this desire to share my running and fitness journey. I'm relatively new to running. It's not something that I have done my entire life. I was in my 30s when I became a runner, and I learned a lot of mistakes, or I've learned a lot of lessons from a lot of mistakes that I made. So hello, who are you? Hi, G, how are you? So I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. And the lessons I learned through that process, I want to share with other people who are struggling with okay, maybe I'm making this mistake too. How do I not overtrain? How do I run properly? How do I use a training plan? All of that crazy stuff, right? So this channel is really designed for people who are kind of somewhere on that running journey, but not necessarily an elite or competitive runner, because we all have, we're all in different places. Somebody's got to be in the middle of the pack, and somebody's got to be near the back of the pack. There is no shame in that. And I feel that there are so many channels out there that talk to the elite runner or the highly competitive runner. And that's great. I think that needs to happen. And I think there are people out there who can benefit from that, but I'm really just competing against myself. So that's what this channel is for. And it's, so if you're new to this channel, welcome. And I want to say hi to Steph and AC and my friend Gerald Resnick over at Res Runs. When you're done here, you're going to go over to Res Runs, because he has an amazing channel. He's got I have some serious gear envy. He's got a great GoPro system that he uses to shoot not just training videos, but he gets really good footage of RunDisney races. So please, please check out his channel as well. What is Veda for those of you who have been around for a while and are wondering what the heck I've gotten myself into this month? Okay, so Running with Grace, this channel started last year on April 1st with Savvy Sexy Social's Vlog Every Day in April. And sometime in March, this announcement was made from the website Amy Schmidauer's Savvy Sexy Social, savvysexysocial.com, and she is a social media guru. She really knows all of the ins and outs about leveraging your social media for marketing purposes, and not only that, but just so many other things. She really does know a lot about social media and how to use it. We have, so what she does every, twice a year, in April and in August, vlogging every day in April or August, right? So she made this announcement in March, and I thought, and I'd never posted a video, ever. Like, I had no idea how to use YouTube. I really had almost never used it. And then I decided, okay, yeah, I guess maybe I can try posting a video. So I took this challenge on. I must have been nuts. So I did. I posted my first video on April 1st last year, and I was able to post every single day in April. So the cool thing about that was I learned about halfway through that I really want to do this. I want to do video a lot more and take this further than just April. And I love talking about this fitness journey. And I thought, okay, this is going to be Running with Grace. Now, if you don't know what Grace is, who Grace is, it's me. It's my alter ego. It's the one with the tiara and the cape, okay? So Grace is a nickname that I earned in high school because I have none. I trip over my own shadow. So that is where Grace comes from. But I thought Running with Grace has kind of a nice ring to it. I kept going with that channel because of vlogging every day in April. It's really designed to challenge the new video creator to do something different and really just immerse yourself into video creation. And I love that because it's like learning a new language, right? You need to immerse yourself in it. The more you're exposed to it, the faster you learn it and the more it sticks. Well, that's exactly what happened in April of last year. So I made an attempt, fast forward a few months, I made an attempt at vlogging every day in August last year. And I won't say I failed miserably, but let's just say that life got in the way big time. And I ended up not finishing out August. So I thought, okay, I want to try this again. And the reason why is because I get so many great ideas from the running community, from the YouTube community, from my Facebook groups, and all kinds of questions that I see repeated over and over. So I like, somebody asks a question, okay, well, what's your favorite shoe? And I'm like, no, it's not about your favorite shoe. I don't want to tell you my favorite shoe. It's about going to a running shoe store and getting fit for the proper shoe for you. And so that's kind of why this channel is so, it's important to me. And I've had such a great response, particularly lately in the last few months. I've had a lot of you are new. So if you are new in the last few months, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a crazy ride, and it's just getting crazier, and I'm loving it. So I want to say hi, and let's see, Gerald says, okay. Oh, hey, Luis from Brazil. I'm so glad you're here. You comment quite a bit, and I know you have some different challenges down there as well. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Heather, you're so, oh, Gerald, you're so sweet. You're just so nice. Okay. I'm waiting for one person particularly. I don't know if she's going to be here. Laura from Joyful Miles, if you're here, say hi. If you're just joining me, then seriously, just drop in a comment, say hi. If you're training for something, let me know what that is in the chat, because I love hearing what everybody's journey is at this point. Let's see, my train of thought just crashed. Excuse me for a second. Okay, where are we? So what else about, oh yeah, that's the other thing I was saying. Yeah, vlogging every day in August, it's gonna be very overwhelming, but I have had a wonderful problem that there's so many ideas that I have this idea pool. I have a spreadsheet, and it's huge. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's unmanageable. I can't keep up with all of the ideas that I have with just 2 videos a week. So the nice thing about vlogging every day in August is that I can, you know, purge that idea pool a little bit. So I will be able to take some other ideas that don't necessarily fit in with my regular, you know, training tips videos and my weekend updates, personal journey. I can kind of mix in a few other things. So we have, in fact, I started out with an alliterative series list, and it was a little weird, but I kind of adapted it. This time around, here's how this is working. Training Tuesday, even though it's Tuesday today, you know, it's the first day of Veda, so I've got to do something special. So Training Tuesdays are just my tips, information, other things that I want to share with you guys. Then Wednesday is kind of a how-to, loosely based how-to video. Tomorrow, for example, it's going to be about how to execute your long run, how to mentally prepare for it, physically prepare for it, what constitutes a long run, and how to just get through it, okay? Because especially when we get into double-digit miles and we're training for half or a full marathon, once we get up there in mileage, it gets harder and harder to execute that. So that's tomorrow's video. I am going to talk about that, executing your long run and how to strategize that tomorrow. So Thursday, what's Thursday? Oh, my throwback series. It's one of my favorite series. I have done this before, where I take a moment in my training history, in my fitness journey, and someone's at the door, but I'm not going to get that. Somewhere in my running and training journey, I learned a lot of lessons. If I go back and I look back on it, I can see, you know, I can see what I learned from that moment. And I am not going to get that. Okay, so I have a series of stories that I want to tell on Thursdays that are very personal to me. Friday is my favorites. I have a favorite series. On Friday this week, we have my favorite tools that I use for running. Saturdays are weekend updates, which means I'm either going to be live like this or they are going to be pre-made. I haven't decided yet. It depends on how that's going to work. Sunday is supposedly nutrition. Don't know, no idea, because nutrition is one of those things that baffles me. Okay, so I am going to talk about nutrition a little bit. Monday, what's Monday? Monday is RunDisney. Monday is all RunDisney stuff. I've got some fun stuff coming up for that. What are you guys saying? What are you guys saying? Okay. Who's here? Christina, hi. Finished your Tuesday maintenance run this week. That sounds like Galloway language right there. Tuesday maintenance run, Christina. And it's in Georgia. See, every time I complain about the heat or humidity, I see reports from Georgia and Florida. Gerald, you're in Florida, and I think, I can't complain. I really shouldn't be complaining. For us up here in the Mile High City, it's humid for us, which is significant. And then we have, but it's been warm, you know, 60 at sunrise. That's warm for us. And then, you know, I see these reports from Gerald and some of you from the Southeast, and I think, yeah, I really can't complain. So welcome, Christina. Glad you're here. Brian, guess what? Guess what? I want you to see if you can guess what just happened for you. Guess what? I'm not gonna say it until you guess. Okay. So Steph, I'm glad that you are looking at the long run video tomorrow. Gerald asks, in your experience training, do you feel there are differences between men and women, or is it about fitness level, age, and health? It's an excellent question, Gerald. I think there are so many aspects to that whole question. Differences between men and women, absolutely. Where we carry strength is significant. Guys, if you watch Gerald's videos, you see he really works on having a balanced body. And I think we do that, but it manifests itself differently between men and women. Men and women can carry leg muscle about the same, but upper body is harder for women to really develop, which is not necessarily an advantage or a disadvantage. It's just that we have to train differently. And I think when we're talking about age, women, and from personal experience, actually, I am starting to see some of this with the hormonal fluctuations, especially as we get older. There's a significant change, and I have noticed this in the last couple of years, that it's just harder to keep weight off. It is harder, and I know this is not necessarily gender specific, but I do know that hormonally, there is a significant difference between men and women. And so I'm still working on that. In fact, it's one of those things that I'm trying to trying to learn about a little bit. And I do want to bring some of that information to you. It is something that I'm still kind of figuring out. What was I going to go back? And age, yeah. I'm refusing to believe that age is an issue, Gerald. I just can't. No, I don't want to believe that age is a problem. So there is so much about that, the differences between men and women. And it's one of those things that has surprised me about this channel, is how many men watch this channel, because I came into running with a women's perspective, a mom's perspective. So my first exposure to running, in terms of the first book I bought, was the Run Like a Mother by Sarah Bowen Shea and Dimity McDowell. And it still is my go-to resource for a lot of things, because their journeys were very similar to mine. And I have a video, I just shot it actually, a video coming up about the day I became a runner and where I was in that personal journey. So that this channel has evolved and includes everybody all over the world. I've got Luis from Brazil. I've got Simon from London. I've got men. I've got women. I've got young. I've got not so much. It's just all walks of life. And I love seeing that. But when it comes to speaking to the gentlemen in this tribe, there's only so far I can go. So I'm hoping that I can bring more of that to you as the month goes on. What are you guys saying? I was dancing, just absolutely dancing before this. I'm going to love the Run Disney Monday videos. Hi, Kyla. I'm way too far back. Let us know when you need questions. Yeah, Gerald, I can talk forever. I don't know if you noticed that already. Okay, Brian, it is 90% humidity. Good. Yes, Brian, you did. You won. You won the Instagram. You won the Instagram box. So this is the extra box. Dude, I am sending this to you. I will get in touch with you. I will try to find some personal message method of getting information from you. Congratulations. I had an Instagram giveaway about the Runner's World subscription box. They screwed up. Runner's World messed up, and they totally owned it. And they said, oh, hey, we're going to send you another box. So enjoy. Do with it what you will. And I said, oh, well, I'm going to give it away. So, Brian, congratulations. I'm so glad you won, and I'm so glad you started watching this channel. Thank you. Hey, so, okay, let's see, where are we? Hey, Heather, happy Veda. Laura is in the house. Joyful house. Okay, sorry if I just blew out all of your ears. Okay, Gerald and Laura, I'm about to make this announcement, so I hope that's okay with you. I'm gonna wait until I hear from you. Okay, let's Let's see those 20-somethings. Let's see. I'm reading that while on vacation. Good. Run Like a Mother. I'm assuming, Laura, that's what you're talking about. It's such a great read. Are you a runner first or a Disney fan first? Katie, that's an excellent question. Gosh, I grew up on Disney. I just came to running later in life. So being, you know, I came from, I came from triathlon. I was a triathlete before, I would have considered myself a triathlete before I was a runner. Again, that's coming up in a story that I just recorded. So, oh, AC, we're gonna talk in a second. Okay, but as far as being a Disney fan, I have always been a Disney fan. I think even more so, well, not more so, the fact that almost all of my favorite things about movies are almost all owned by Disney now. Okay, Star Wars, that Lucasfilm was bought by Disney. Say what you will about that. I personally think it was a good move, but Lucasfilm, so Star Wars is owned by Disney. Marvel, oh my gosh, Marvel. And the only thing that isn't owned by Disney, and I think he's holding out, is Lord of the Rings. You know, that whole New Line set, Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. So, you know, it's probably good to spread it around a little bit. I do love Harry Potter, but no, I think Disney fan. I'm definitely a Disney fan first. So AC says, what does she say? Us 20-somethings can learn a lot from you old people. I adore you. I adore you. I'm just going to say that. Okay. Scroll that stuff. There was a contest. Gerald, I will definitely let you make sure that you get included in the next one. Okay. Okay. I haven't heard from Gerald. Okay, Gerald says do it. Okay, good. Okay, here's what's happening. Here's what's happening. Okay, you ready? I need to collect myself here. Okay, Joyful Miles, Res Runs, and Running with Grace are having a meetup at Walt Disney World's Marathon Weekend on Friday, January 5th. We want to meet you. We want to get together, and actually it'll be like the first time that the three of us are actually in the same place together for that weekend. So, I mean, we're talking all the time over, you know, over Skype and over Messenger and all kinds of stuff. What, meetups? Yeah, you were involved in that conversation, Gerald. At least if you didn't remember that, that's what's happening. I'm just saying. Okay. So again, Joyful Miles, Res Runs, and me. We're all going to be, Amy, you're so sweet. Can the world handle that much awesome in one place at one time? Mm-hmm. Yes, it can. It may, there will be like light shining, crowds cheering. It is going to be so fun. Okay, January 5th, somewhere on the boardwalk in the afternoon. That's as far as we've gotten. We are going to work out more details, but the reason why we wanted to let you guys know that if you are going to be at Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend in January, we know that you're probably planning your itinerary at this point, making reservations. You want to know where you're going to be on what days, how you are planning your days. So throw that into your itinerary. Again, somewhere on the boardwalk, Friday the 5th in the afternoon. On the board, nice. So it's gonna be so great. And I do think that there will be more before that between these three channels. So that's the great thing about this running community and about the YouTube community, that we're all friends. We may have never met, but we're all friends, and it's becoming, there's so much solidarity and support and encouragement. And I do actually, and I don't know if she's here, I haven't seen her yet, but if you haven't checked her out yet, she is brand new to YouTube, and her name is Laura Runs and Eats. Gerald, I know that she jumped on your channel, and she just mentioned mine. She's absolutely adorable. She lives in New York City. She's training for the Goofy Race and a Half Challenge in January. So check her out as well. Like I said, Res Runs and Joyful Miles. You got to check those two out. I knew it, and I'm so sad we aren't doing that race. Wish you were doing Princess, Heather. Yeah, Princess. I know Laura and Gerald will be there. At least I think so. Will you guys be at Princess? Princess is one of those that I'm like, and Laura and I had this conversation. I will do Princess when Mulan is the theme. I'm just saying, I need a really awesome, I like take no crap from nobody kind of princess. She's one of my favorite princesses. So Prince Charming and Prince Hans will be there. Oh, I love Hans. How do you run in that? Okay. I need to move on. All right. So here we are. She has a gorgeous name. Let's check her out. What else? Am I missing anything else? You guys are so amazing. Can you do a blog on shoe? Oh, Brian, dude, it's coming. It's already done. It's already coming. So can you do a vlog on shoelaces and shoelacing? Yes. It's one of those things that I learned that it's like we've been tying our shoes wrong all this time. Have you ever noticed there's that extra hole at the top of, right up near your ankle? There's a reason for that. That has a purpose. And I'm going to explain that to you. I don't know when. It's coming up in the next week or two. That might be next Wednesday's video. So take a look at that. What else? Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so fun. I will bet you $1 right now that it will be Mulan. Maybe. It could be Mulan. It could be Mulan. How do you not get overwhelmed by vlogging, running, motherhood, and everything else? Who says I don't get overwhelmed? I do. I hope I'm using it right. Yes, motherhood, vlogging, running. Okay, the running is the sanity for the motherhood. I discovered very, very early on that because of this particular running journey, to get a little bit personal here, when my son was 8 months old, my husband moved out and I became a single mom. So I was not yet a runner. I was a triathlete, but I was not yet a runner. Brand new mom, still carrying baby weight, overwhelmed, and then this happens. Then I had, there was one morning I just decided I was going to go for a run, and it changed me on multiple levels. It changed me. So I learned that day that I wanted to be a runner, and I still look at that day as the definitive moment in my running journey, with that transition from being a triathlete to being a runner. Now, since then, I still did a bunch of triathlons, some big ones. But that day is when I realized that becoming a runner was crucial to my motherhood. So it's a very personal story to me that I don't mind sharing. But it's not something that I make public a lot because, and Gerald, I know you and I had this conversation on one of your videos recently, that we're just dealt the cards, and we have to, they may not be the cards we want. They may not be the cards we expect, but we have to play those cards. Okay. So those were the cards I was dealt, and I learned to adapt and do something different. Becoming a runner is how I mentally balance all of this stuff. I get most of my ideas for my idea pool while I'm out running. And most of the time I'll remember, I'll have like 5 or 6 great ideas while I'm out running. And then by the time I get home, I might remember one. So, but that's where all of all of this comes from. I think that, thank you for asking that, Gerald. That was a, it is a balance. There's always a balance, whether you're, you know, whether you're a parent or not, whether you are, you know, whether you have a job or not, there's always balance. You know, I'm a single stay-at-home mom, not for much longer. You know, that is changing in September, but I've been working, I've found that balance. And now that my son is old enough to either run with me or, you know, he can kind of hang out and play in the park while I run circles around the playground. That's really what that is. So there are a lot of ins and outs on the balance thing. I've never found it. I've never found balance. It's an elusive thing. So thank you, Gerald, for asking that. Let's see. I announced, what's your wedding date? Mine is 9/30. Katie, you're getting married. Congratulations. September 23rd, actually. So that is happening. Congratulations, Katie. That's going to be fun. I found so much inspiration in runners' stories, thinking about starting a channel. Oh, yes, Steph, you and I have had this conversation that you have with type 1 diabetes, that your challenge is very different. Again, this is not something I can speak to because I don't experience that myself. So that would be fantastic, Steph, if you started a channel or a blog or something, share that story, because there are others, and you know, this is just something I'm always seeing. Everybody's got a challenge, and it's how we choose to deal with that challenge. So, and I think too, that the YouTube community, the social media community, I think at large, is extremely supportive when you always say, exactly, Gerald, you said it exactly right. I always say the more the merrier. Every story adds to this tribe. We all have a different role to play in this tribe. And I think the most important role that we can all play is to support one another and encourage one another. That comparing my speed to someone else, it only does me a disservice. And so am I fast? I don't know, as compared to what? Am I fast as compared to Usain Bolt? No. Am I fast as compared to Kara Goucher? No. You know, am I fast as compared to a banana slug? Yes, of course I am. But I just think, you know, we all have our specific journeys, and especially with RunDisney, you know, I have a lot of RunDisney folks out here. That is so open to all comers and so welcoming. And when you get back into the later parts of the race, there are just a lot more people, and it's a different experience at the back of the pack than it is at the front of the pack. And I think, you know, being in the middle toward the back, not that I'm not fighting to move up, that's my personal challenge for myself. I do want to get faster, or at least not lose speed. I may not get faster, but as long as I don't lose speed, I'm happy. There is a different experience back there. I have another question here. Favorite RunDisney race and or challenge? I've only done 2. Okay, so given Kyla that is where I'm sitting, I have done the Superheroes Weekend well, at the time it was called Avengers Weekend in 2015. That was out at Disneyland. And that was my first RunDisney experience. Video coming on that. I mean, seriously, like all of August. I'm just going to give you the preview right now. And then it was the Dopey Challenge, Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend in January, where they canceled that half marathon. Yeah. So I think the best, honestly, I think my favorite, gosh, it's such a great question. My favorite Disney race, I think still, gosh, it's like choosing between children, even though I only have one. I want to say it's Avengers. It's the Avengers half. And the reason I say that is it was the first time that I did a significant distance where I did not care about time. I just didn't care. My feet were killing me. I did the whole weekend wrong. I did the 5K, 10K half, but I was on my feet way too much. It was my first trip to Disneyland. But I loved every minute of it. It was superheroes, and I'm going back in November for superheroes this coming fall, and I'm excited about that because they've changed a few things. And you got your coast to coast at Adventures last year, Kyla. Yeah, I love it. I think that one's just really fun. That one's always going to have a special place in my heart for me because that was my first RunDisney experience. Up until that point, I just kept pushing for distance and pushing for just finishing big distances. Right before that, in June before that, I had just finished Ironman, and it was all serious. You know, that's almost a full-time job training for an Ironman. You're training, you are physically training 15 to 20 hours a week, right? Then on top of that, there's your foam rolling, there's your recovery, you got to eat right. You can't stop eating when you're training for an Ironman. So it was so serious for so long that when I finally got to RunDisney, I just let it all loose and I loved it. And so that was the first time that I really decided, okay, you know what? This is fun. This is actually really, really fun. Most want to do. Oh, Gerald, you know that one. Let's go back here because I do have a more the merrier. Thumbs down. Gerald, yeah, the thumbs down thing burns me out, makes me want to cry and whine. Hey, I get it. I got that first thumbs down. And I'm like, man, what did I say? And I thought, and I did some research in some of my Facebook groups, some of my vlogging Facebook groups. Hang on. Coconut water. About what a thumbs down means. So it's like if you were to go into Facebook and like somebody's share. So if you have, somebody shared, hey, I just signed up for such and such a race. Oh, Gerald, you have the perfect example. Okay, so you just signed up for this chocolate race, which sounds like a lot of fun. So I go in and I like that post. What Facebook will do at that point, say, oh, she liked not only Gerald Resnick's post, but the post about this thing. YouTube does the same thing. The thumbs down is more about what preferences that person has for videos, or at least it's supposed to affect, if I understand this right, it affects what they're going to get in their recommended feed. So it may not necessarily be personal. It may not be that that person will never see another Res Runs or Running with Grace video again. It just means that, oh, well, this isn't necessarily the style, the format, the topic, all of the tags that you put in when you post your video. It will take that into consideration when making recommendations for that person. I think I'm not making this up, but I think that's how that works. So a thumbs down, I'm like, oh, well, hey, somebody watched. Great. Fine, you just go over there. I'm going to be over here, still doing my thing. Okay, so that's, yeah, I mean, it is frustrating, but the thumbs down thing, I've kind of, I don't know, I have so many new subscribers, you guys. You are so awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay, what else? Bolt isn't fast compared to Bolt. The dude poses. You're right, he does. I can't think of another, help me with another like speed freak. I want to say Meb Keflezighi, but that's just a hard name to say. Let's see. Can you talk about what makes Disney half different from other marathons? Oh boy, howdy. Kuda. All right. So everything. Okay. The great thing about Disney, now there's Disneyland versus Walt Disney World. I did a video about that a while back, what the biggest difference is. I'm going to set Disneyland aside for now. Walt Disney World races, because the entire, including the marathon, the entire race can be held on property. Okay, they do have to do some certain, permitting things. They do have to organize how everybody's, going to get around. But Walt Disney World events are all on site. You are running through the parks. Where else in no other marathon, half marathon, or any other race except for RunDisney, can you run not only on site, not only through the parks before they're even open, but you can run through the castle. You run under Spaceship Earth. You run past the Tree of Life. You run down Hollywood Boulevard. All of these amazing, iconic structures to Disney. That's one. That's one. Okay. One thing that makes RunDisney different. Another thing is that they have character stops. So you're running along and, oh, hey, there's Thor. There you're running along and, oh, hey, there's Mickey Mouse. And, oh, and maybe not Mickey. He's usually at the finish line. Or you see Captain Hook or Peter Pan. Depending on the race will depend on the characters you will see. Of course, it's superheroes. You will see the superheroes. Wow, that was brilliant. It's Star Wars. You'll see all of the Star Wars characters, not just from the original trilogy, but from the Clone Wars TV series and Rebels. And so those will be character stops. There will be a professional photographer there that will take your picture with that character, and then they post it in your PhotoPass. What else? There's tons of entertainment that I think is so much better than the rock and roll events. I have done a few rock and roll events, and they've kind of left me feeling, meh, okay. Because as you're running along in a rock and roll event, you're only hearing the music for about a minute before you get there and a minute after. And then you don't even hear a whole song. It's not like you're going to stop and listen to the song. Well, RunDisney events, they do have DJs. They have a beautiful mile marker system. So they have some kind of image from a movie about a character, all of these things. Every single mile marker is a photo op in and of itself. The medals are beautiful. The way they take care of their runners, and I know a few people might disagree with this, but having done other larger races, the way RunDisney takes care of their runners is far and away better than anything else I've ever experienced. And the reason I say that, I actually heard an interview with someone, gosh, I'll have to look it up and I'll have to leave it somewhere, she used to work for RunDisney. The industry standard for races, for events, is like one porta potty, okay? One porta potty for every 50 runners. That's the industry standard, okay? RunDisney is so much different. It's 1 to every 35 runners, okay? Which, I mean, we still have to wait for a bathroom, but still. I mean, imagine if it was 1 to 50. We would never finish the race. That's just one way. There is an industry standard that RunDisney not only meets, but exceeds dramatically. That's what makes RunDisney so much different. There's entertainment ahead of time. There's, bands. And I know that a lot of other races have bands and cheerleaders along the way, but RunDisney really does raise the bar entertainment-wise. I also think that RunDisney races are great for the novice runner because they are at sea level. And now coming from a mile high, it's huge for me. They're at sea level and they are flat. Very, very flat. There are like no hills. So they're great for the new runner. But that's a great question. Disneyland, yeah, I'm not going to touch Disneyland. Disneyland half marathon, or excuse me, the Disneyland side of things is having some trouble. And yeah, ooh, Brian was an intern back in the day, you're a Disney nerd. I love it. That's great. Yes, and Steph brings up a good point. Gerald, just go over to Res Runs and, you know, say, hey, if you want to see Disney races, if you want to see what they look like, Gerald's your man. Okay. Watching your vids from the Southern Hemisphere. Just imagine all the thumbs downers are watching your videos from the Southern Hemisphere. Ooh, I like that idea. Okay. I want all Disney races. Can you do a foam rolling video? It's on my list. It is on my list. It always, I shoot it and then it looks dumb. At least I think so. Doing a foam rolling video. I have talked about the different tools for foam rolling. I'm actually kind of crafting it in my head how I'm going to do a foam rolling video. That will come eventually. I need a camera person to help me with that, because that's hard to do when you just have to set up the camera in one spot, because I'm director, videographer, cameraman, and the talent. It's hard to do. Anybody, I know Gerald can speak to this, and I know Laura can speak to this. It's hard to, you know, do it when it's just you holding the camera. Okay. Let's see, Iron Man. Well, oh, yeah, Steph, yeah, Iron Man. That was a one and done thing too. Am I going to do another Iron Man? Never say never, but ooh, highly unlikely. Oh, thank you. That was an amazing explanation. I'm glad that helped. You know what? I haven't stopped for a character line. Gerald and Laura and anyone else who has done those races, do those character lines go fast? Because that is something I've not yet done. One of these days I will. I can't get out of that. Okay, I have a purpose. I have to get to that finish line. I haven't gotten into my head. Well, oh, hey, I'm just going to stop over here. If I'm going to stop, it's going to be to use the bathroom. Like I said, Gerald, it all comes back. But conversations about running all comes back to the bathroom. Yeah, I don't know about the character lines moving quickly. The ones at, there are character photo opportunities before the race starts. For marathon weekend, it was, I didn't see Mickey, but I saw Goofy, Donald, Daisy, Minnie, Pluto, and Dopey, right? So those don't go necessarily fast, but if you're there early, you can get in line for those. Before, they're really slow. I don't know about during the race. So I think they go pretty quickly because they have a pretty well-oiled machine. They have someone they have two people there, as far as I've been able to see. They have two photographers. One will take your phone to take a picture with your phone. The other will, the other's a PhotoPass photographer, which means that that picture is official and it will go in your PhotoPass memory maker if you decide to purchase one of those. What is your feeling about riding attractions during the race? I saw runners in line for Everest on Marathon Sunday this year. I eventually will do that. This year for Marathon, I was so super slow. I didn't go, I decided, you know, I'm just going to enjoy this process. And I know that this year the marathon was so super cold. Just getting to the race start was sketchy for me. If you were there, you know, it wasn't so much the cold. I'm used to the cold. It was the wind chill. Like the wind just ripped right through you. Yeah. So I know that getting in line for Everest, I would love to do that. But I also would feel that I need to move up in Corral. I was in Corral M this past year, and that's what I'm spending this year doing, is that darn it, I want to get up at least one corral, 2 corrals. Ugh, it's driving me crazy. So that's really what I'm fighting for. And if you saw my Prairie Dog half race recap last week. I was really disappointed in that time. It actually is a decent proof of time. It wasn't what I wanted. So if I can get up in corrals, I might try riding Everest, just because I don't know when I'm going to get down to Walt Disney World for another one of these. Laura is the go-to character girl. I know, right? Ran past her Princess 5K. Okay. Yeah, I know. It's so funny because that marathon morning in January this year, I know Laura was there, and I had just discovered Laura at Joyful Miles, and I should say Joyful Miles because Laura is not the only one at Joyful Miles. There's Rob, Megan, and Jackie too. And then I had already been watching Gerald's videos, and I was looking for you guys. I mean, like I said, I was in Corral M, but I would have recognized Gerald because of the GoPro. But I mean, honestly, I was so oblivious for the first probably 7 miles of that race, just trying to survive the cold of that race. Yeah. Midway through the race is when most people are falling behind in the pace. That's the best time to stop in the line. Okay, that's good. Mom and I, okay, AC, Mom and I are running the Wine and Dine 10K. She's worried about the balloon ladies. 16-minute pace. Okay, here's the thing about paces. This is a really good question. What do you guys think about the pacing requirements? As of now, your mom can run around 2 miles at the 16-minute pace. All right, it is August 1st. You have lots and lots and lots of time to improve speed, which you don't have to do much of. If it were me, again, I'm not a coach. If it were me, I would focus on just doing the miles, getting the miles done. Long runs on the weekend, just doing the miles as the training plan suggests. I'm assuming she's got a training plan. The 16-minute pace is totally doable. You want to be careful of where you are corral placement wise. If you can submit a decent proof time and not end up in that last corral, that will just give you that extra cushion. The balloon ladies are the last people to start. And you have 7 hours from the time they start. Is that right? Do I have that right? So once the balloon ladies start, you have 7 hours. So if you are in corral A and they're in corral P, and there are 2 minutes between corrals, you have another half-hour buffer or longer before those balloon ladies even start. So if you can get yourself up in an earlier corral, you're giving yourself a little bit of time. But again, 16-minute pace, totally doable. If you can push that down to a 15-minute pace and just work on the endurance, the longness of being out on a long run. That's where I would start. The Wine and Dine, my Garmin. The Wine and Dine 10K. Yeah, 10K. Yeah, you can totally, that's totally doable. I really think that that's doable as long as you work on making sure you can get the 6.2 miles done and just work on going a little faster. The more you do it, you will see the time drop. They made the announcement in the queue that if you were a runner in line, you would be swept if you didn't. Oh boy. Yeah, I know. Riding a ride, it's just so weird. I can't get out of that. I just can't. I'm not in that headspace. Okay, guys, we are talking so much about RunDisney, and I love it. So if you have more questions about that, please drop questions, comments. Oh yes, I have another announcement, guys. This is exciting. I announced the meetup, Joyful Miles, Res Runs, Running with Grace, Friday, January 5th, somewhere on the boardwalk at some point in the afternoon. Mark your calendars. Okay. Oh, I lost it. What was I going to say? Oh, right. Another new announcement. I decided that there wasn't enough. There just wasn't enough time, enough space on YouTube for me to just give you all of the training tips that I have. Obviously, I'm doing vlogging every day in August, And I have plenty of ideas there, but I always feel that there's something left over when I'm finished with a video. And I wanted more for that. And I wanted a space that, for a couple of reasons, I wanted a space that I could just give you more information, share more of my research, kind of my behind the scenes thought process. So I have a brand new website. It is up today. It's called GoFindYourAwesome.com. The link is in the description, I believe. So please check that out. It's got a few things from July, and it is definitely a work in progress. So I hope you guys check that out. I will be posting these videos not only on YouTube, but also on the website as well, with a few more notes and some more information, some more research with some of this stuff. And also, I love doing YouTube videos. I really do. But there was another kind of reason that I wanted to do a blog is, you know, I can sit and write in my pajamas and not have to do my face and hair. I'm just being real here. I mean, because if I don't have to do all of this, it just makes it so much easier, right? So I will be, I will be over there as well. So GoFindYourAwesome.com. With most of the videos that I have coming up, I will be mentioning that, you know, something else is over there as well. So that's exciting for me. Why did I start? So why is it GoFindYourAwesome.com? So there's a little story behind this. Yes, yay, I will go find my awesome. Face characters take longer. Ooh, here we go. I want to go back here. Protein, what? Oh, heck no. What are you guys saying? Balloon ladies seems like a pretty cool. How do you happen to know how the? I don't know how the balloon ladies are chosen. Seems like a pretty cool job. I would love that job. I would so do that. I would do princess if I could be one of the balloon ladies. I might be a villain. That would be fun. No, gosh, I'm going back all the way. Yes, Chilly and very windy. Brian, so you were at Marathon Weekend. At Disney all week, ride a ride later. Oh yes, you're at Disney all week, ride a ride. That's kind of how I'm feeling about it. Because Expedition Everest is one of my favorite rides. I'm afraid, I would be afraid to sit down. Yes, I'm going back to the ride thing. I would be afraid to sit down for 2.5 minutes at mile, what is that, mile 13 of a marathon? Yeah, I would be afraid to sit down. Runners in the queue scatter. You're at Disney. Let's see, where am I? Face characters can take longer if they get chatty. Where a character is at can make a difference. Near the end of the marathon had little to no line. That makes sense. People are worried about finishing. That's a big deal. They're volunteer. Those balloon ladies are volunteers. Again, I'd love to sign up for that job. Have a question about shoes. Do you only have one brand that you use, or do you switch out or alternate? Steph, great. You gotta go back to Gerald. Okay. You're so funny. I have a question about shoes. Do you only have one brand that you use or switch out or alternate? I only have one brand. For a while, I was phasing out a shoe because I just got a new shoe. I like to have 3 shoes in rotation. Any more than that, and I get confused. So right now, I have 3 pair of Saucony Guide 10s. I have heard of people switching out and alternating different brands of shoes. If you do that, check with your running store, because they will give you really good advice on that. I know people who can do it if they have a more, well, and I don't even know if I can say it that way. Some people can do that effectively, and it depends on the training you're doing. So if you are on the track doing speed work, you might wear a lighter weight, more flexible shoe, because you are really, really pushing yourself. If you're on a long run doing, 10 miles, you might do a more, and you need some stability, you might do a, I don't want to say better built, because that's not what I'm trying to say, a more stable shoe, something that has a little more meat to it that can stand up to that kind of mileage. I think it's worth looking into. If that's something you want to do, definitely try that. But again, go back to your running store and ask them. Again, it's going to depend on your running style, how you do that. That's maximal versus maximal BS minimal. Yeah, I have switched. I went from a highly stable shoe. There was a lot of meat to it, and it was too much shoe for me. Then I switched out to the Saucony Guide, and it's the shoe that I am enjoying. But I have a doctor's appointment in a couple weeks that I have some issues with my shin. I'm not sure if it's shoe related, but I'm going in to find out what it is, and I will keep you posted. Maximal versus minimal autocorrect. Yes, Brian. Yes, thank you. So again, it depends on the type of workout you're doing. If you're doing speed work, that's really the biggest. Has Saucony Stride Lab helped you improve your running technique? Yes, when I actually do it. Yeah. I have found that Saucony Stride Lab is a great app. If you guys don't know what that is, go into the Wayback Machine. I don't remember when I did this. It is an app for your phone, and I think it's only for iPhone. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Gerald, are you exhausted? Are you leaving? I want to, with the Saucony Stride Lab, it's great to figure out what your weaknesses are. I have found that it's, to do all of the exercises every day, it's a good 15 to 20 minutes. I don't always have time for that. And I kind of fell off the wagon on that. The other thing too was there are two sides to it. There's the bodywork side. What are your strengths? And then there's the other side, which is the stride, your actual cadence, how you move your legs and how you hold yourself during your run. I have not been able to actually do that piece of it because you have to set up your phone over here, jump on the treadmill, and if it doesn't work, you have to do it again. It's kind of a pain. So I haven't actually done that yet. When I did the video about Saucony Stride Lab, I did a part 1, which was the body work. And then I haven't yet done the part 2, which is going to be the Stride Lab. I like it. I think it's great. If you, I do highly recommend Saucony Stride Lab as an app and figuring out where are those weaknesses. And then it will just give you exercises to strengthen those parts. For me, it's always hips and glutes. I haven't done a lot of that work and I'm suffering for it. So getting back into that by doing resistance loops and Bosu, that's coming up, I promise. Yeah, thank you, Gerald. 1 hour nonstop talking. See, what was it? I did, those funny little, Facebook quizzes where you have, you jump in there and they say, what does so-and-so say about you? What Hobbit character are you? Or what would your, what Harry Potter character, I do these stupid little quizzes every once in a while. So one of the things that I did is it came up and it said, you're like a symphony. What was it? What did I say? What did I say? I have to look it up. You're like a symphony, enchanting, but very loud. So that's me. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Yeah, that's me. Oh, you like the Hokas. I haven't gotten into the Hokas yet. I think the last time I went to Roadrunner, Hokas aren't a thing for me. They just don't work for me. They're not quite the right shoe for me. I do believe that there isn't a bad shoe out there. You can't go to a running store, a good running store, and have a bad shoe. You can go to Walmart and get a bad shoe for running. I don't mean to pick on Walmart. I'm just saying, go to a specialty running store and get yourself a good running shoe. What else can I talk about? Oh yeah, I want to go back to the blog. Why is it gofindyourawesome.com? So when I started Blog Every Day in April last year, I had already started a blog called Grace and Pretzels. And that evolved from a training diary, an online training diary that I did on Blogspot, something crazy. And it was one of those, you know, it was through the whole Ironman journey. It was about 2 years where I just intermittently wrote some thoughts about, you know, what my training is doing. And oh my gosh, I'm 40 years old and I'm running my first marathon, you know, things like that. And I didn't really expect anybody to read it. I would share it on my personal Facebook page and friends and family would read it. And they were pleasantly surprised by the fact that I could write. I have to argue. I don't know that I'm all that great a writer. But I started that. I enjoyed the writing process. So I pushed that Ironman blog aside and I started Grace and Pretzels. Grace and Pretzels was a motherhood and fitness blog, and it was so broad. It was so, there was too much to it. And I never really got into it. I enjoyed it for a while. I enjoyed writing for it for a while. But then I started this video thing. And I got more into the video than I did into the blog. And the blog just kind of fizzled. It's kind of like when you have a plant in your house and it just kind of dies because you don't water it. That's what happened with this blog. Part of it was because I forgot that I even had it. I went to, I switched over to YouTube and I never went back to Grace and Pretzels. So I lost my domain name. It expired and I couldn't get it back without paying an arm and a leg to get it back. So I said, okay, fine. I don't want Grace and Pretzels anymore. So now gofindyourawesome.com. It's a thing. Head over there. Guys, I've been here for an hour and 10 minutes, and so have you. What? You guys, I mean, your endurance is amazing, okay? You can forget about me sitting here and talking for this long. But the fact that you can sit here and listen to me for this long. See, again, you guys are amazing. Okay, Brian, thank you very much. I will get in touch with you, man, about your box. So congratulations. Thanks, Brian. Okay, I've only ever used one brand, but my hubby, who's been a highly competitive runner, basically I was like switches between new, yes. And I had, that's a good, that is a good point, Steph. Switching between two different shoes is, I've seen more experienced runners do that. Not to say that a novice or you know, a beginner runner, intermediate runner, non-competitive runner, I guess, middle of the pack runner. Not to say that those people can't do that. I would just say you might want to put some miles on your feet and decide what you like, how you like to run, where you like to run, before you start switching between shoes. Biomechanically, you're going to learn more about yourself with one pair of shoes, one style of shoes, before you start mixing it up. Because a track shoe, for example, because they're lighter weight, you have to have strong feet. You have to have strong lower leg muscles to support you in a workout like that. So again, I think it's doable, but oh, good, Brian. But I don't think it's required. I don't know that it would change much about your journey. It might. Again, ask your running store. What else? I think it also depends on your fitness and size. Yes, exactly. Used to run an Asics in Brooks. Again, yeah. And this is another thing, guys, that I heard when I went to Roadrunner Sports the first time. They said that you should get refit every 18 to 24 months or sooner if you've had a major life change. Women, if you've given birth, your feet, everything changes. But your feet are one of the many things that randomly change. It's not random, but your vision changes. I mean, stupid things. Things about carrying a child, there's crazy. But one of the things that does change is your weight obviously fluctuates dramatically throughout your pregnancy, and your feet will spread, okay, through the course of your pregnancy, and they don't really grow back. So if you have shoes from before you were pregnant and then use them after, you might find that they're a little tight. I am a full size and a half bigger than I was before I had my son. Thanks, kid. Just kidding. But yes, your shoe type will change maybe every year. So going back in will make a big difference. Going back into the running store will make a big difference if you do that every 18 to 24 months. I'm actually due, depending on what my doctor says about my shin, I may have to go back in earlier than I planned on. I was gonna wait until after Dopey to go in, but I might have to do that. Let's see, how do you maintain the motivations to go and run? No, Kuda, that's a great question. I'm glad you're asking questions. Thank you. And I hope that I'm saying your name right. How do you maintain the motivation? It was a learned thing. It's the best way I can put it. The first few years of running, I kind of dovetailed off of triathlon. It came from at the risk of sounding like I'm a competitive athlete, I'm not, that I compete against myself. And so if I want to finish faster than I did last time, I'm going to work harder. If this is really what I want, that's my carrot, then that's my motivate. That's what motivates me to get up and out. There are days where it's like, nope, snooze, done. But when there was a period of about 4 or 5 years where I was challenging myself to do longer races. And that's how I ended up at Ironman. I mean, it was like, there was nothing telling me I couldn't, except that I just had to go do it. So the training process, and there's something about a training plan for me that if I look at that training plan, I'll say, okay, I get to run tomorrow. And I think I just said it. So there are a couple of things. Having a training plan that will bug you. Okay, if you can't check that, if you can't check that off, if you can't check that workout off, it's going to bug you. Getting that mentality. Training Peaks is a really great place to go because you can, if you have a premium membership, you can plug in your workout. So let's say for today, I did a 3-mile run. Actually, I was on the bike for 45 minutes. I plug in 45 minutes on the bike. Tomorrow, if I hadn't done that workout would turn red and it would say, you didn't do it. But since I did it and I logged it, it turned green. And I like to see this big sea of green in my training plan. So that's, if you have a training plan to stick to, that's one. The other thing is to not look at it as a chore. If you look at it like I get to go run 5 miles today. I get to do a strength workout today. I get to. Because I think we lose this so many times as runners. And like I said, we all have our challenges, but I am physically capable of swimming, biking, running, all of these things. And I think if we look at it like I get to, this is awesome, that's where the motivation comes. I hope that helps, Kuda. Hey, Gerald. Oh, back. Okay, you're gonna be right back. Okay, He's gonna give his dog a bath. His little Frenchie. I love his little dog, Coach Spanky. Am I still happy with the Garmin 235? Still use it. It's still cracked. But if you saw that video way back, my Garmin Forerunner 235 review, 2 weeks into buying it, I just dropped it. I'm a clumsy person, and so I just dropped it, and it fell face down on the concrete. You know, I was trying to do 3 or 4 things at once. One of those things was trying to put on my watch. It's my own stupid fault. But yes, I love it. And I have a video coming up about how to program a workout in the Garmin. There are a lot of things about it that I'm kind of learning more and more every day. I really do love it. I love the wrist watch heart rate monitor because a chest strap just does not work for me. But I have seen, and I know Gerald just left and he's going to come back, but Gerald, I think, has a heart rate monitor around his forearm, which is pretty impressive. And I would be interested in looking at that. I like to streamline a little bit when it comes to what I'm wearing on my person. I used to have the 310 XT. Actually, I still do. I don't have it. I gave it to Dave, my fiance, and he loves it and he uses it all the time. I see you did the same thing with your Fitbit, dropped it. Yeah. Yes. Scotia Rhythm Plus. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that is your heart rate monitor. That's awesome. I really like that. I was watching one of Gerald's videos. Oh, it's $80. That's not bad. But like I said, that would be one of those things that I'm sure it would stay in place. I like to run unencumbered. The fact that I even wear a watch is kind of a different thing for me. I used to just use apps on my phone until I had to do some heart rate training and I really needed to get off of the heart rate monitor chest strap and use something that was a little bit more consistent. I do use Strava in that. How do I use Strava? The way when I upload from my watch to my Garmin, because there's that feature too. The other thing I love about the new Garmin is that it's a Bluetooth upload. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. I used to have to plug in the old brick, the old 310. But from Garmin, I know from Garmin it populates to Training Peaks. And I'm not sure if it populates from Training Peaks to Strava or if it comes directly from Garmin, but that's how I use Garmin. Excuse me, that's how I use Strava. So it goes in there, but I'm never actually in there. In fact, I just got a kudos from somebody. Yeah, I got a kudos on my morning ride. Kudos are the thumbs up. So you have, it's the social media aspect. If you want to find me, yeah, look me up on Strava. And I try to follow, but again, I'm not in there very often. And with, let's see, do I run with music? Tried hundreds of headphones, but none seems to last long or keep in place. Yeah, I've never had a problem with headphones. Do I run with music? Occasionally. I listen more to podcasts and audiobooks. I'm doing a favorite podcast video. Oh my gosh. Yeah, see, I've got a lot coming up. Hundreds of headphones. That's a lot of headphones. I don't know. If anybody has any recommendations for good headphones that won't move, go ahead and leave those in the chat. I just use my regular earbuds and they stay put. The iPhone earbuds, those stay put. And I don't often listen. The reason I don't listen to music is that I find that I tune into the music more and tune out to the world around me less. Or I tune, you know what I'm trying to say. Music is distracting to me. I will use music to amp me up. For this last race, I was listening to the Team RunDisney playlist, and if a really good, fast, movable song got me going, I would I would just move a little faster. It's really what got me up some of those stupid hills. But I don't normally listen to music. Electronics backbeat fit. That's what they use. Okay, so yes, just got to my next appointment, so gotta go. Awesome live show, sweets. Oh, thank you. Laura, thanks so much. We have to do a chat. We got to figure out what we're doing in October. Hint, hint, hint. Guess what, guys? Yes, there's something coming up in October. That's all I'm going to say about that right now. Okay. Jog FM, great resources to find songs. Good. I have heard of the Jaybirds. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I don't know. Again, all I've had are the Apple ones. I haven't tried the Bluetooth headphones yet. Has anybody tried those? It would be nice to run wireless, but again, I haven't had so many problems with those. So yeah, I'm starting to lose my voice, guys. Can you imagine? Gee, do you do? I don't know, Gerald. Do you know about October? You might a little. If you want to get involved in that, you can. What else can we talk about, guys? I've said everything I need to say. I told you about the meetup. I told you about my website. I told you about Veda. I told you about all those crazy things. What else? I don't know. But I'm so glad you guys are here. Bluetooth. Steph, Bluetooth headphones. Cheap from Amazon. Really? Hey, Steph, would you leave a link in the comments after this video posts? I don't know. I'm just trying to Plantronics backbeat fit. I'm writing that down. Are you able to stay engaged in your run by listening to podcasts and audiobooks? Do you not get bored? Boredom is relative. I'm just going to say that. Again, I'm going to talk about this a little bit on my long run video tomorrow. How do you not get bored? I think that's inevitable. I find, especially on my long runs, let's go back. So for some of my short runs, I actually like to not listen to anything. I don't do that often, but once every couple of weeks, I will take a short run, a short, easy run, and I will just completely unplug. And I tune into the world around me, and it feels good. I can't do that all the time. That would drive me crazy. Podcasts are where I get my ideas and my information. So I have a few of them, that I listen to repeatedly. I subscribe to them. Another Mother Runner is one of them. That's just a fun, I save those for my long runs because they're about an hour and they come out once a week. But that's, with the audiobooks, depending on the story, I may kind of lose interest a little bit. For a while, I had read these books when they first came out, but the Timothy Zahn Heir to the Empire Star Wars book, so it was after Return of the Jedi came out, and Timothy Zahn had written this whole library of books that are no longer considered canon. We're going to talk about that. That's something else entirely. But I will sometimes be engaged depending. I just listened to Thrawn. So if you do follow the Star Wars expanded universe, Timothy Zahn just released a book called Thrawn, and it is tremendous. It's very good. If you know anything about Admiral Thrawn, it's his journey up through the ranks. But that's good. That's how I stayed engaged for a while. The books I'm listening to right now are kind of boring. But yeah, Gerald, the problem is we start to focus too much on the story. I slowed it. Well, I'm already, and actually, that's a good point, Gerald. I stay slow. Podcasts help me stay slow, so I'm not overworking and I'm not going. Again, I'm not a Galloway runner, so I don't run. I don't do that run walk thing. If I need to go fast, if I'm doing a tempo run where that middle mile is longer or faster, excuse me, that's when I'm listening to the music. If I'm listening to a podcast or an audiobook, I completely lose focus on the book and I'm just focusing on my speed. So I save the music for my my speed workouts. Audiobooks, it's like, I haven't actually listened to an audiobook in a while. I have a couple in process, but usually podcasts, and that's where I get a lot of my information. Runner's World podcast, if you want good inspiration and information about running, the Runner's World podcast is very, very good. Comedy playlist. Yeah, I can't do that. I had, what did I listen to for a while? Wait, Don't Tell Me. I couldn't do it. I listened to that for about four or 5 weeks, and I'm like, I'm not getting any, I'm actually not focusing on my running. So I stopped listening to that. Let's see, what kind of running belts do you use? That's a good one. I use the Sssveda belt, and there's more information on the Friday video for that, but it's, you've probably seen me in some of the pictures. It's a bib belt, and it carries, it folds down, the center part of it folds down to about this big. There's a zipper in it, and it does fit my iPhone if I take the cover off of it. And it holds kind of bandolier style 6 gel packets. It's got a wide, thick band and a good buckle on the back of it, and that's what I use. It also has a couple of attachments for bibs. So I use that on race day, and I've gotten to where I use it all the time. I use it on all my runs. So that's what I use. I know people use flip belts. I haven't actually tried those yet. I love what Gerald says about not getting bored. Mess with the camera during your run. You'll never get bored. I don't know how you do it, man. See, somebody's got to do it. I get out there and I start running, and I'm like, I should really shoot some video, and it doesn't happen. I'm like, oh, look, I finished 7 miles and not a single shot. Okay. So that's why you mostly get just this. Anyway, last time you asked about virtual trainers. Yes, you did, Katie. And I don't think, have you ever heard of someone using a trainer coach that's oh, yes, Katie, that's exactly what I do. Good question. Okay. Virtual trainers. I wouldn't call Coach Christine a virtual trainer. She is a real person. So I apologize if I didn't understand the question the first time you asked it. Using a trainer or coach that's in another state. She does all of her coaching online. So my coach, Christine Hinton, is in Maryland, and I'm in Denver. We've never met face-to-face. We're friends on Facebook now. But we do all of that interaction via email. I do have access to text her in an emergency. Like a couple of weeks ago, I was out on a long run, and I was 2 miles in, and I was ready for a nice warm run, but it started pouring, and it was supposed to be like a 12-mile run. I'm 2 miles in, and it's pouring down on me, and it was not safe to stay out. So I'm texting her from underneath this awning. And I said, what should I do? She's like, go back home, get on the treadmill. I'm like, I don't want to get on the treadmill. So Coach Christine, and the way I found her was that if you get the book Train Like a Mother, she designed those plans. So if you like those plans and that philosophy, they're amazing. They are truly amazing. Right now, she is coaching me. And the reason why I got a coach is because I'm really good at following a training plan from start to finish. But what happens after that? Okay, so how do I get what I just built to the next one without hurting myself or losing everything? Okay, so that's why I decided to hire a coach this year. This is the first year that I've gone from race or race series from one to the next with some direction on how to recover. So it works very well. If you find a coach that you like or have heard of, get in touch with them. It works very well. The way it works with Christine and I log all of my data in Garmin. And then I share each of those workouts with her in a week. It's like my weekend update. So I will write her an email, and I will include all of the links to all of my workouts so she can see the data, the heart rate data, the pace data, the weather, because my Garmin even tells you what the weather is, or it will find that information somehow. And she looks at all of that information and said, okay, this run you did great. This one you maybe went a little fast, maybe take this day off. And we shift everything from day to day, from week to week. So she actually really, if something is bothering me, I can get in touch with her midweek. But otherwise, we keep it to the weekends, and we have maybe a 3 or 4 email exchange, and we say, okay, see you next week. Every month, she sends me a new, do I even have it out? I wonder if I have it. She sends me a spreadsheet. She sends me a calendar of just the month and the workouts. And she explains what each of those workouts is, if I don't already know. And I just plug them into Training Peaks. If there's something bothering me, like this shin issue, she will say, okay, well, that could be this. Let's try this. Let's try foam rolling. And hey, why don't you call your doctor in the meantime? And we will work around anything that comes up. So it's very personalized training without her even having to be here. If you hire a coach, someone who's going to interact with you mostly online, they will probably do some kind of fitness evaluation for you ahead of time, like before you really start working. Katie, I hope this is helping. So let me know if I can still clear some stuff up about this. So with hiring a coach, and I've had 2 coaches in my life. I had an Ironman coach who was actually local, but I never met him. And then I have Christine. In both cases, they want to know what you've done before you came to them. What issues have you had? What kind of injuries? Your training history, your race history. They want to get a good picture of what you're doing before they start working with you. And then in that first week or 2, they will probably give you some kind of evaluation, which is they'll send you out for a run that is super short, but as hard as you can go, just to see what your max speed is. And they'll ask you to wear a heart rate. I think most coaches anymore want to get as much data as possible. I know Coach Christine uses heart rate, but she also uses pace. She uses weather, all of these things that affect heart rate. She looks at this whole picture. So I think for me, it's just where I am in the journey. It's not necessarily something that everybody can afford. But again, having done as much as I've done and learned some really crazy lessons along the way, I needed to take my training to the next level. And RunDisney or not, I want to know, can I do this prairie dog half as hard as I possibly can? Can I, I don't know, can I, and then if I do the prairie dog, the biggest thing after prairie dog was, okay, the next run was Tuesday. We'll see how I feel. And she's like, if you can't do it, you can't do it. And the other great thing about having a coach is that if something goes wrong, life gets in the way. I mean, our training does not exist in a vacuum. And your kid's sick, or, something happens, your parents need you, or something happens, all of a sudden you're traveling a lot, or you get super sick, or you're getting a car accident, heaven forbid, right? But a coach can get you through that piece of your life. I like to think of coaches as it's kind of like a counselor. And I love Christine. We have a very similar personal stories. And she's an amazing, amazing person. So I highly recommend her. I think she's got a wait list right now, but Christine Hinton, therunningcoach.com. Check her out. I mean, she's awesome. So yes, she coached me after Prairie Dog. She felt terrible after Prairie Dog because guys, I don't think I said this in the video, and I don't think I had it. I don't think I ever said it out loud. I crossed that finish line and I was in gut-wrenching sobs. I was literally doubled over, like, you know, those, you know, you just can't breathe, sobbing. Okay. That's how devastating that finish was to me. I just did not feel good about that race, but she talked me in off a ledge, for all intents and purposes. So Katie, I hope that helped. It sounds like it did. So yeah, definitely look into that. So do I ever stop for breaks? I can maintain 10 minutes or less with Galloway, but really slow down if I run all the time. And I think, you know, what's funny, Gerald, is that Galloway is a foreign concept to me. Dave is using the Galloway method for marathon, and he loves it. He loves, he loves kind of digging into the science of it and why it works. And I think that's fascinating, but it's almost like once I got to the point that I could run consistently, I didn't want to slow down to walk. It was that achievement for me. As new runners, we're like, okay, we're running along, and all of a sudden we want to die. And so we slow down to walk. And we think of that as a kind of measure of our fitness. And it's not. I mean, it's not a very good measure of our fitness. It just means that we're working too hard to start off with to make, that makes us have to slow down to walk. The Galloway method, I know is effective for a lot of people. And I did try it with, what was that race I did? Superheroes. I tried the Galloway method. There were a lot of issues that I had. In fact, I have another video coming up about that. My first RunDisney race and why I used the Galloway method and what I ended up coming up with on that. That one, that had a lot of other extenuating circumstances to it. I didn't do that race right, regardless of how I trained for it. I had just come off of Ironman and I did not recover properly before I expected, significant time improvements for Avengers. Really, Ironman takes a lot more out of you than anybody will ever give it credit. It is truly exhausting. And even into November, I was still suffering the consequences, if you will, of crossing that Ironman finish line. So that being said, using the Galloway method was good for that race, but I don't have the brain, the self-discipline to say, okay, I'm gonna run for 15 seconds and walk for 15 seconds, or 2 minutes and 1 minute. I just don't have that self-discipline. I can't maintain 10 minutes or less. I run slowly. And this is where the Macmillan calculator comes in handy to kind of see if you can run 1 mile at 10 minutes. You're not going to be running 26.2 miles at a 10-minute pace for that whole time. It's not how it works. So this comes into pacing and why paces are so important from distance to distance. So if you're doing a 5K at 25 minutes, you're not doing a 10K at 50 minutes. I'm trying to do math. You're not doing a 10K at 50 minutes. You're doing a 10K at maybe 54 minutes. And I think it just has to do, for me, it was just, I had to keep running and running and running and just go a little farther before you slow down and go a little farther before you slow down. And I touch on this a little bit in tomorrow's video, but I want to elaborate on it a little bit. I had a friend who helped me get me through those first 8 to 10 mile runs. And she is just a consistent runner. She runs and runs and runs. And I mean, this poor woman, she's like, okay, we're just going to get to the next tree. We're in the last 2 miles. Get to the next tree. This is the longest I've ever run, 8 miles. Get to the next tree. Okay, now we're just going to get to that tree. Okay, now we're going to get to that bend. And it's breaking it down. You need to have Dave get video of you so we can see your pacing. I'll tell you, my paces Let's see, I'm trying to figure out how that happened. Yeah, Adams, I noticed I run a lot slower in the heat. Yes, yes. Juanita, that's a great question. And it's a big, complicated answer. The warmer it gets, the slower we go. And there is a certain temperature differential as to how much. I think it's every 5 degrees over 60, you're going to lose a minute in pace. If you have a heart rate monitor, it's kind of fun to play with, because if you're running and it's 60 degrees outside and you just run a 12-minute mile, watch what your heart rate's going to do. And then later in the summer, if it's 70 degrees out, run that 12-minute mile and see what your heart rate does. When the sun is up, it is different. If you look at my heart rate data from yesterday, the sun wasn't up. My heart rate was really low. My pace did not change and my heart rate spiked. Weird, right? I don't know biomechanically why, but I know it is a truth. It is a universal law with no hope of appeal that when it gets warmer, we will slow down. Okay, Steph, hey, see ya. Thank you for stopping by. My gosh, you guys have some serious endurance. About 10 at 85. I think I missed something. So as far as my pace goes, this is something that I learned last year when I was exclusively heart rate training. I was looking at one metric. Not for me. I learned a lot through that process, but that is not necessarily the training method for me, which is why I have a coach. We were looking at one metric, and that was heart rate. So if you have ever tried to stay in zones 1 or 2, and you do that ridiculous number, 220 minus your age, and that's ridiculous because there's no one size fits all. If your age is one factor, whether or not you're male or female, your fitness level, heart rate, resting heart rate, all of that stuff factors into this 220 minus your age. But if you use that as a starting point and you try to run in that zone 2 or less, you are a lot slower. I mean, just allow yourself to be very, 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 very slow. Last year when I started doing that, I was laying down 16-minute miles. Guys, it hurt my ego. It hurt. It was painful. But being consistent in doing that over the course of the next 4 months, I dropped my easy, and this is your easy pace, okay? When it says easy run, this is what it means, zone 2 or lower. When you get above into zone 3, and for some people, for me, let me see. All right, so for me, zone 3 starts at 150 beats per minute. Anything below 150, and I'm in that zone 1, that easy pace. If you keep doing that, your heart is going to get stronger and you will be able to move oxygen to your muscles more efficiently, and your heart rate will start to drop at that same effort. Translation, that means that you can keep that heart rate, stay in zone 2, and ultimately move faster. Who did I lose here? Okay. The trick is to have the self-discipline to stay easy. So my easy runs right now are right around 13 30-minute miles, okay? But I can throw down a sub 30-minute 5K because I'm training for speed. When you're training for speed, you're pushing up into that zone 3, zone 4, those threshold zones, really putting in a lot of lactic acid into your system and exhausting those muscles, getting, really just losing all that glycogen, right? So the reason why heart rate training is good is because it shows you what easy really is. So when I'm training, in fact, gosh, I just got my training plan from Christine. So my tempo runs, I have a couple of runs every Wednesday where I have warm up, nice easy pace, 13-30 miles. Then I have a tempo run. And I'll do, I think she has it programmed at like 9:40. So you're going to do a mile at 9:40. It's a wide range, 13:30 to 9:40. That is huge. And that is what I think a lot of us as runners don't grasp. That easy isn't like 30 seconds slower per mile. It's minutes slower per mile. And that's why, you know, these endurance runs, if you allow yourself to go so much slower, again, the Galloway method is different. You know, when you're running, you are running and running hard, but then you slow down to walk, which brings you down to a 17-minute mile, 16-minute mile, whatever that happens to be. 10-minute miles at 85 degrees, 185 beats per minute. Yeah, and not knowing what your max heart rate is, given that you've been running now for a couple of years, Gerald, I would guess that your resting heart rate is pretty low. And I would guess that your max heart rate is pretty high. My max heart rate is 191. So if you do 220 minus your age, that doesn't translate. That says that my max heart rate at 191 means that I'm 29. Yeah, we'll just go like that. Let's just go with me being 29, sure. Let's see. So I don't know if that explained anything or if I just confused everybody. 10-minute pace consistently. That, let's see, 10 minutes per mile at 90 degrees, 100. Dude, seriously? Juanita, wait a minute. Whoa. Your 10-minute mile pace at 90 degrees is 157 beats per minute. Own it. Hi, own that. Holy moly. If I were to do 10-minute miles, I would be at 175, maybe. I don't know, depending on the day. Yeah, pace is one of those things that I have learned to completely let go of. Once I discovered, okay, this is how I'm gonna run 5 days a week. Now, that's the other thing too, guys. If you're running on Galloway, you're running 3 days a week, okay? Until you start getting into your challenge runs, your challenge simulations, where you're running back-to-back days. I'm running 5 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's a speed day, Thursday's off, Friday's easy, Saturday's long run. The only reason I can do that is because my Tuesday run and my Friday run are in that zone 2 or better, lower. If I have a particularly tough run where my heart rate's a little higher than I want it to be on Monday, I'll take Tuesday off. If we are running in that threshold zone or higher day after day after day, that will get you injured. Bottom line. That will get you into that overtraining hole that I talked about a few weeks ago. If you keep running 4 or 5 days a week at that threshold level, you will get into that overtraining hole. Oh my gosh, this is great. So my non-long runs range between 3 and 5 miles. Yesterday, it would have been 3 days today. It would have been 3 miles today. It was 4 miles yesterday, 4 easy miles. It was supposed to be 3 easy miles today. I decided to bike. Tomorrow is my tempo run at 5 miles. So it's an easy warm up, super hard in the middle, and a cool down. then I have Thursday off. So I'm getting my butt kicked on Wednesday, take Thursday off from running. I'll still work out. Thursday off from running. Friday is an easy run, 3 miles, 5 miles, depending on how I feel. And depending on what the plan says. And then my long run, for this month, my long runs range from 6 to 12 miles because I have a 10-miler race coming up second week of September. So my long runs aren't quite half marathon yet, but that'll come after wedding. Help? Does that help? Okay. Yes, Juanita, you're like, that's crazy. That's crazy. So the other thing that you brought up, Gerald, was having Dave mess with my, or film me while I'm doing my pacing. Yeah, it's, I don't know, watching me run is painful. I don't know. Whenever I have somebody filming me when I run, it just always looks painful. It's like, no, that can't be public. That image cannot be public. I'm sorry. So anyway, those are kind of my thoughts on pacing and speed. Kind of what, again, the Galloway method is so different. Certainly not wrong, because obviously it's working and he's still using it. So, he's an Olympic marathoner. I guess he knows what he's doing. Do you ever do incline running? That was all I did in the month of July for this Prairie Dog half marathon. I was training for hills because I thought, yes, I do. I don't use, if you're talking about incline on the treadmill, yes, to a point. When I'm on the treadmill, assuming that's what you're talking about for a second, when I'm on the treadmill, every quarter of a mile, and this comes from my coach, every quarter of a mile, you hit a button to do something. So either go up or down in incline, go up or down in speed. And it doesn't have to be much, but just mess with the incline, mess with the speed, because if you set that treadmill and never move it, that does not simulate outside conditions. So if you mess with those two buttons, incline and speed, that will help you a little bit. I don't do incline running because it's not on a treadmill, certainly, like set it way up here. I think that's a really good way to get hurt. Incline running, as far as hills go, yes, I will do hills outside. There's a sledding hill just right over here that has different faces of it. So there's one face that's kind of a nice, easy slope. There's another face over here that's a little steeper, and then another face that's super, super steep. And depending on how I'm feeling that particular day or what my hill intervals are, I will pick a face, sprint up it, jog back down, sprint up it, jog back down. Those are really good for building strength in your glutes. And I do those whenever Christine makes me. That's about all there is, because I love how they build the strength, but I really don't like doing them. So I don't know if that answered your question, Juanita. 2 minutes run, 30 seconds at 12:30, so it would be next to you in pace. I know some people pace 1 minute fast, 1 minute slow, and keep running the whole time. That is kind of what I do when I'm doing intervals. Yeah, again, I would love to hear more. So Gerald, okay, Gerald, I have a video idea for you. Explain Galloway. I know you've done that in the past. Just saying. Okay. Okay, guys, I've been sitting here for almost 2 hours, and so have you. I meant outside with hills. Okay, Juanita, I hope that explained a little bit. Outside with hills. Somebody said there are two phrases I love to say about hills. There's one letter difference between hill and hell. The other one is hill workouts can also be translated to eat marathons for breakfast. Guys, you have been sticking with me for so long. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you guys so much for being here. Head over to gofindyourawesome.com. If you haven't already, give me that thumbs up on this video. Subscribe. I've got tons coming in August. And in fact, I've got to get some of that ready to get up today. So thank you guys so much. Please feel free to leave questions, comments. You can tweet at me. You can reach me on all of, you can reach me on Facebook. You can reach me on Twitter, on Instagram, and certainly here. So thank you guys so very, very much for being here today. This was a big deal to me. I got so excited. I was, like I said, I was dancing. When Can I See You Again from Wreck-It Ralph. Okay, guys, that is my amp up song. So if you want a good amp up song, When Can I See You Again? And then what was the other one? Immortals from Big Hero 6. Okay, those two. You're gonna go find your awesome. Rez, you don't even have to, you've already found it. Rez Runs already found your awesome. You guys have all already found your awesome. So guys, thank you so much. Mwah! I will see you again soon. Stay tuned for more information, more announcements. Love you guys. I need to figure out how to turn this off. Okay. Guys, thank you so much. Love you. Mwah! Bye.